If you take a beach ball and try to shove it underwater, the effort you apply to keep it submerged creates an equal and opposite force pushing it back up. The harder you fight to sink it, the more aggressively the water works to pop it back to the surface. This same mechanical tension governs the human mind. When an intrusive anxiety or an uncomfortable memory surfaces, our immediate reflex is to suppress it. We attempt to gain control through forced meditation or sheer willpower, or rigid self-help routines designed to fix our internal state. These efforts to fight our own feelings don't act as a cure. They are the specific mechanism that amplifies the initial discomfort into lasting suffering. Spiritual teacher Sri Bhagavat Aya observed that this cycle persists because we are applying the logic of the external world to the internal mind. Establishing peace requires recognizing a functional boundary within the human experience. We must distinguish between the inner world of feelings and the outer world of physical reality. This is the outer world, or param. It is the domain of action, logic, and tangible tasks. If you are building a house or writing an email, you use active effort to organize raw materials into a structured result. On the other side is the inner world, or agam. This domain consists of spontaneous feelings, sudden memories, and fleeting thoughts that emerge and dissolve without our permission. In the outer world, this mechanical control is necessary for survival. Applying logic and effort allows us to manipulate our environment to meet our needs. The error occurs when the ego attempts to use these same management tactics on the inner world. When we try to organize or delete a feeling, the mind reacts by glitching, multiplying, and becoming more intense. Treating a feeling as if it were a broken physical object creates the very anguish we are trying to avoid. The inner mind operates as an autonomous system, producing thoughts just as the heart produces beats or the stomach produces digestive enzymes. When we fight a thought, we create an internal split. We act as if the thinker who is resisting the thought is separate from the thought itself, but both are generated by the same mind. This internal civil war creates a feedback loop. Resistance generates tension, and the mind interprets that tension as a new problem to be solved, leading to compulsive behaviors and mounting psychological pressure. Because the fighter and the opponent are the same entity, the fight only ends when the system reaches total exhaustion. Iyengar points to a response called summa iru, which involves remaining entirely inactive internally when a thought arises. Every thought has a natural life cycle. If allowed to rise without judgment or interference, it reaches a peak and then naturally dissipates. This internal stillness allows us to immediately redirect our active energy back toward physical tasks in the outer world. Suffering is the friction caused by the ego trying to block the mind's natural flow. When you remove that resistance, you stop feeding the thought with new energy, allowing it to complete its cycle and lose its grip on your attention. Popular depictions of enlightenment often suggest a state of permanent silence or a mind that has been scrubbed clean of all noise. In reality, a liberated mind still produces grief, chaos, and frustration. The shift is that the individual has stopped attempting to manage or police that internal noise. Liberation is the state where negative thoughts no longer trigger a defensive reaction. The mind remains noisy, but the constant, exhausting labor of managing that noise has ended. The human mind is exactly like a fast-flowing river, constantly moving forward with its own natural momentum and power. Much of our mental fatigue comes from standing in the center of that current, trying to build a dam with our bare hands. Peace comes from stepping out of the water and sitting on the bank. When you let the river move at its own pace, you no longer waste your energy fighting the current, leaving you free to focus on the life happening on the shore.